if anybody's been paying attention to anything in the automotive world lately, you've noticed that companies have been looking at phasing out petroleum engines. Lately, companies have been experimenting though with a new fuel called synthetic fuel, and that's pretty much anything that can still be used in an internal combustion engine that doesn't use fossil fuels. And I've always been very invested into anything in the automotive industry, and I'm always very interested in researching anything that's going to be happening in the future. And this could be something that is very prevalent in our future, just because of petroleum being phased out, because of some companies' plans for synthetic fuels, and because of the available infrastructure we have right now. All of us here could be seeing synthetic fuels being used in our cars right now. The first thing though with petroleum, like I said, it's being phased out right now. Many companies have actually looked at getting rid of it as early as 2030. And this is because of, as you all might know, greenhouse gases. A lot of cars are very pollutant to the world. Any internal combustion car that uses fossil fuels releases a ton of CO2, which just destroys our atmosphere. So much so that the U.S. government right now has actually been shutting down oil pipelines here in America because of this, and because of all the pollutants. They want to use less of it. And even over in Europe, not just in the US, but in Europe, according to Daniel Stroll, actually according to David Booth, a popular Canadian auto journalist, in his 2023 article, The Growing Case for Synthetic Fuel, the European Union wants to completely stop any sale of internal combustion engines by 2035 with one caveat, and that caveat being that it would be compatible to use anything like e-fuel or synthetic fuels. So what e-fuel is according to Jeremiah Burton, who's a cast of the famous automotive YouTube Donut Media, in his video titled Why Synthetic Fuel Could Replace Electric Cars, he explains how Porsche has been using a way to create a synthetic fuel with a hydrocarbon, as seen here, from our existing CO2 in the atmosphere and from using water. And so it then is known as carbon neutral because it doesn't produce any new greenhouse gases. Recently, according to Daniel Stroll, Porsche has become the leading investor for any synthetic fuels, and that's solely because of their e-fuel and their production. But first off, how they did it was they created a factory in the southern tip of Chile because it was cheap land and they could use green energy there because there was a lot of availability for wind turbines there. And so anywhere from production to consumption, all of this fuel is completely carbon neutral. And this has become a real stepping stone in seeing globalization for this, as Porsche has actually recently announced that they will be building a super factory or super refinery in Texas to put out a lot more synthetic fuel. And the last kind of point that I want to talk about is infrastructure. This is the thing that interests a lot of people about synthetic fuel, is that you need no new infrastructure for it. When you look around, you'll see, gas pumps, gas stations. Synthetic fuels be able to use those gas pumps that we use right now. And not only that, but they'll be able to use existing cars. And so any of our cars that we're able to use right now, they'll be able to run on this Porsche e-fuel or any other e-fuel or synthetic fuel that is being created. The only caveat with this is that this e-fuel is very expensive. Right now, we're looking at about $10 to $12 a gallon, compared to regular fuel that you see is in the U.S. anywhere from $3 to $5 or $3 to $6 a gallon. And so I kind of just want to talk about how this is something that's very prevalent in the future, and that how, because of petroleum being phased out, because of Porsche's plans for e-fuel, like seen right here with the Porsche, and because of the existing availability to use our regular pump for gasoline in an internal combustion engine, this could be a very viable solution in the future to become carbon neutral. And I firmly suggest that everybody here kind of keeps aware of any new technology that they see happening with synthetic fuels. I thank you for everybody being here.